we are going to end up with individuals who have been tested by the people themselves. It is not me as Ben MULWA as SG to sit here and decide you are a good man or you're a bad man, you are a good leader or you're a bad leader. It will not even be the honors of the party leader. It is going to be the responsibility of the citizens to tell us the kind of leaders they want to elect. Because if you go to every village in this country, they know amongst themselves somebody who can be given an opportunity as an MCA and they'll be transformative. They know somebody who can be given an opportunity as an MCA and they'll be a thief. They know them. So sisi hatutaingililia ati kwenda kupanga wananchi. Wananchi wenyewe ndio watajipanga, na tutahakikisha ya kwamba wale viongozi ambao wamedhihirisha, wamejitolea kuwahudumikia, na wale wamekuwa wakiwafanyia kazi, hata kama ni kazi kidogo aje, whether you have been the mama mboga chair in your area, whether you have been the boda boda chair, whether you have been the mkokoteni sako chair, whether you are a matatu driver, whether you are a matatu tout, it doesn't matter. Kama wananchi wanaona na kulingana na vile wamekupima na kulingana na vile wameishi na wewe ndio utaweza kubadilisha maisha yao. You can be guaranteed that at the National Economic Development Party, you will have a home.
Okay, about the road to Singapore,
yes.
We have heard the president most of the time say that Kenya is heading to Singapore. We don't know when, but during yesterday's event in State House,
yes.
NGC
yes.
for the UDA party, the president said that many of the countries that have developed have done so because maybe their leaders had that dictatorship leadership. Do we expect to see such kind of leadership in Kenya? And in the position of NEDP, where do you see our country in the next 7 years?
First, I want us to be extremely clear. We must desist from the habit of misinforming the public. These leaders are people who are extremely astute and extremely focused and extremely disciplined in what they were doing. That cannot be translated to mean dictatorship. Dictatorship arises in a scenario whereby somebody inherently knows they are incompetent, and then they believe that they need to use extra force to coerce or to force people into a particular line of thinking or into a particular way of doing things. And by all standards, that is not a way to build a future for any country. So let nobody lie to you about that. Number two, when we keep talking about Singapore, in 1965, Kenya, through the cabinet minister then, the late Tom Mboya, presented what we call the sessional paper number 10 of 1965. And this was christened as the Kenya's Economic Bible, which was intended to completely transform this country. And it was anchored on three major pillars. The first pillar was completely eradicate poverty, not manage or not reduce. Eradicate poverty, eradicate disease, and eradicate ignorance. Ignorance to the larger, in the larger context in terms of in enhancing our literacy and education levels. Now, when that paper was actually celebrated across many countries, and it is the same paper in 1965 or 1966 that countries like South Korea, countries like Singapore, countries like Malaysia came to borrow from Kenya's economists, because this paper was done by some of the finest economists then, including the late Barack Obama Sr. and many others. What am I trying to say? That what we have here is a crisis, is a moral crisis, as I indicated, whereby we have leaders who have deliberately refused to do what they are supposed to do. It's just that simple. And that is what the kind of leadership that we want to reinstate into national and county leadership in this country, where we have to agree, if you are elected as president, if you are elected as a governor or as a member of parliament or senator or any other position, then your sole responsibility is to strictly do what you are elected to do. And again, on that issue of what they call benevolent dictatorship or whatever it is that they want to call it, it's truly unfortunate for somebody to think about a dictatorship in this country. There are two revolutions that have occurred in this country. And the first revolution that occurred was the clamor or the fight for independence that gave us self governance. That was 1963, 1964. The second revolution that occurred in this country was the clamor for the multi party space and democracy that we enjoy today, which was permanently enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Anybody who is uncomfortable with the provisions of that constitution has got no business whatsoever imagining or even thinking about becoming a leader of whatsoever level in this country. And it has been evident the current administration and even the immediate previous administration were very uncomfortable with this constitution. I don't want to delve into much about that. But the one and the last and mandatory revolution that must occur in this country is an economic revolution. Kenya has been led by economic saboteurs for way too long, to the extent that national resources are misused or misdirected to benefit a very small cabal of individuals at the expense of national interest. And if you look at the genesis of the 2024 and 2025 uprising by the Gen Z, it was about the economy. Because now we have millions of young children in this country who wake up every morning to do nothing. It is only God sent that now we have other platforms that are outside any government intervention, like the digital space that has created quite a number of opportunities for a majority of them. But we have completely destroyed agriculture in this country because we keep importing cheap stuff, and the tenderpreneurs, especially around the people or the powers that be, must profit from that. We killed, for example, the cotton industry. I mean, it's unfortunate